Hello, I'm Jane. It's May Bank holiday here in the UK and I'm standing on a ladder. Okay Jane, why are you standing on a ladder? I'll tell you why. If I was a fancy Nancy YouTube channel that had loads of subscribers and loads of money, I would be able to afford a drone to go flying right over the allotment site from the front gate over there all the way back to the tree line over there, but I haven't, so I'm having to make do from taking some shots from up here. But what's nice actually is, well, I can see into some of the other neighbours' plots, which is lovely, but everything I see now, I can actually see the plot myself end to end, because normally, because we've got the greenhouses, we've got trees, etc., it's broken up into small compartments. So if you're walking through at such and such a height, you're going to miss out on the whole space. So what I'm going to do is give you a tour of everything that I can see from the front gate right up into the tree line, and I'm not going to cut anything out. It's going to be warts and all. Okay, I'm just starting off at the very front of the allotment here. This is the hedge to the outside, and here was where we basically threw in a load of flowering plants when we first moved in, and they've done really well. It looks a mess at the minute because it is a bit of a mess. We've got plenty of grass coming through, but I'm leaving it to be a little bit sort of a survival of the fittest area. That's just my excuse for being lazy, but if a plant can survive in that, it can stay as far as I'm concerned. I've got the Pullman area there. I've got, can you see if I go to the fig, I've got a fig there. That was got by frost actually, but it's coming back, it's all right. The chives, and what's been absolutely stunning this year already has been this geum, which I'm deadheading pretty much daily. We've had some, what are they called? Queen of the Night tulips at the back there as well. They've gone now. But then coming up here are the Shasta daisies, which just will fill that space and look beautiful. And next to them, strangely enough, is a, sorry, I can hear loads of chickens. I don't know if you can. Is a red currant bush that we were given by a neighbour last year, and it was so heavy, he gave us so much root with it that we dumped it there, meaning to move it, and we haven't. But what's happened is, obviously in the red currant roots, there's been a whole load of raspberries as well. So in there somewhere is the red currant, but we've also got all these raspberry plants. So when they've died back this year, they'll get moved into another spot. Okay, there's the gate coming in, and down there, right next to the door, and I've got the sun in my eyes, so I don't know if you can see it, there's a little tap which we can no longer use because we're now down to standpipes. And I'll just swing you around very slowly. There's the shed. Can you see through there? Mike's in there on his phone. And in front of the shed this year I've shoved in a whole load of mint with some marigolds and some sweet peas. These are all spares, so they're just going to fill in that beautifully. Water butts. We were really trying to get as many water butts in place as we can, because of course we don't have the tap anymore. We're using a standpipe, so as much rainwater as we can get, we can use. Sorry, I'm walking and talking at the same time, doesn't always work with me. Here's what was the herb bed last year, and you can see that sage has completely taken over. There is some fennel at the back just coming where we've got those dead looking sticks, but in there I've just shoved the odd tomato as well. So we've got 3 odd tomatoes. Don't know what they are, but we'll see if they come. Back round. More water butts. and here's the arch that we put up last year. We've got this honeysuckle growing up the arch, which is taken really, really well. Seems to quite like it there, so looking forward to getting some really nice flowers off that this summer. Okay, and into the greenhouses. There's not a lot to see in this one now because we've pretty much got everything out. The only things we're going to be growing in here this year are chilli plants, which are currently just been repotted, and they're currently sitting there, so they will absolutely love the heat and the light that we get in here. So yeah, but other than that, this is going to be just more of a working area really, as you can see. Very much work in progress. But if I show you the other one, oh, sing a little sea shanty as we go around. You can see that once again this vine is looking beautiful, isn't it? Oh joy, we were so lucky inheriting that. We reckon it must be at least 20 years old. But in here we have got lettuce, which have got tomatoes planted in between, so as the lettuce come up we won't be replacing those, but we might put some companion planting in there. Tomatoes on this side. These are all sun gold, so these will all be ones picked for salads and eating fresh out of your hand actually at the allotment. And the far beds, I don't know if you can see from here, Mike has been using as nursery beds, so we've got a whole load of herbs in there that need transplanting. So we've got chervil and basil and coriander, and in this side we have got some of his, I think it's Cavolo Nero at the end, but on this side as well I've planted our sweet peppers. Oh sorry, and on that side I've planted some cucumbers. So whereas it's all looking very flat at the moment, it's going to be quite jungle-like quite soon. Little patio area here, where the plants that were in the greenhouse have all been hardening off. My goodness, it is so hot here. You can see my shadow there. Here we've got the two posts, one either end, for the tayberry and the blackberry, which are going to grow across, and then in between we have got strawberries and the odd shallot. Don't quite know how the odd shallot got there, but they're there. At the back of the table, just like last year, there's my tripod as well. I told you it was going to be warts and all. We have got another post and wire system going on, and in there we've got strawberries and sweet peas. So again, like last year, this should, in the height of summer, provide a lovely wall of fragrance from the sweet peas. The actual strawberry bed's doing quite well. We had a really bad frost about a week ago, and a lot of the strawberries, I'm trying to find one now, I showed it on my last video. Oh, look at that, look at the bee. What do you reckon, zoom in? Of course, as soon as you zoom, they fly away. There he's gone. A lot of them were suffering from black eye, and when a strawberry's got a black eye, poor strawberry, that's not too bad actually, it basically stops forming fruit, so that flower would be no good to you. So the idea is, if you pick them off, you're encouraging more flowers, just like when you deadhead anything really. Now, there were two trains of thought. You can go around and deadhead them all, or you can just leave them be and they'll produce new flowers anyway. Well, I've just left them be, and I've got to say they've produced quite a lot of flowers here. So we're soon going to be at the stage where we're going to be covering these up, and I reckon in about a month's time we're going to have quite a nice little strawberry harvest. Another post and wire system up for the summer fruiting raspberries, which we only put up about 3 or 4 days ago, which was sadly just after the very strong winds, so we lost a couple of raspberry canes. But as long as they're tied in loosely, these should give and sway with the wind, so they should all be okay. Then we've got the late, mid-season and early fruiting blueberries there, not doing as well as I thought, with thyme planted in at the edges because they like the same conditions. And then, just because it's nice and symmetrical, there's thyme over there as well. And on this side we've got our currants. Now, I showed this on the Facebook page. Those strong winds, forgive my shadow again, completely did for this poor little currant bush here. And it snapped off right at the base. Now, the thing is with this, it's quite a rigid plant. And the bit that snapped off was quite heavy with currants. Such a shame. So we've currently got that in a bin of water, and we were going to take cuttings from it, but someone suggested that actually if we put the whole bit in soil, it might just take. So we might give that a go. So watch this space. In between the currants, we've got the dahlia coming back from last year, and we've also got, I'll lift you up again, dahlias that I've put in this year, if you remember a few videos back, and they've actually taken really well. So yeah, it won't be long now. All of a sudden they look too close together, don't they? But you can also see I've got some, can you see there? Some self-seeded cosmos. So I'm going to leave that in because that can't do any harm. We've also got some of this self-seeded, oh heavens, tree spinach. Is it tree spinach? It's not tree sorrel, it's tree spinach, which has just got the most beautiful pink centres. So if it's seeded itself and I like it, it stays put. I'm very excited about these train driver mountain rage peas. Someone had actually sent me a video of a person harvesting them, and I only got the video recently, so if I remember I'll put some sort of card up or a link for you to watch the video, because the peas that they produce, they're like the sugar snap type. They can get to about 6 or 7 inches long, so it's going to be really exciting seeing what happens with these. And next to the train driver peas we've got the red Karmazin broad beets, which have all come up beautifully now. They've survived being ravaged by pigeons and mice and slugs so far. So yeah, looking forward to them again. Again, it's something that I haven't grown before. Okay, well then we've got the gooseberries, which aren't brilliant, I've got to say, but what we did find, it was a few days ago, I came up and the ground here, look, you can see all the cosmos is seeded itself again, and we've got some onions in there. Found that there were loads and loads of berries on the floor. If I show you here, it was quite littered, the floor was quite littered with dead berries. And so obviously, can you see in there? See, it's everywhere. The tree has obviously been too dry. Hello bird. Oh look, it's a blackbird. Let's see if I can see it. Hello. Anyway, yeah, so we had all these berries on the floor, and it's obviously the tree has been under stress of some sort and has aborted the berries that it can't provide for. So we think it's just absolutely got too dry, but fortunately after a few good buckets full of water it's producing more, and these seem to be fattening up quite nicely, so yeah, should get some sort of harvest from them anyway. Okay, I'm kneeling down next to the asparagus here, which again got a bit battered by the winds last week, but it's okay. But something I found out quite recently was that tomatoes and asparagus make really good companion plants. So I've managed to put my outdoor tomatoes either side of the asparagus line, because apparently what they do, tomatoes, let me get this right, tomatoes produce a substance called solanine in their roots, which helps to deter asparagus beetle. And asparagus produce something that helps to deter the nematodes that can be found eating tomato roots. So they both look after each other. Plus, when you think of it, that asparagus now it's not going to be doing anything here for the next year. It's just going to be going to seed, we'll be leaving it and leaving it to die back. So these tomatoes will just help to provide a nice little windbreak for them, keep the area free of weeds, supposedly, and shelter them over the next few months. The rest of the broad beans doing well. Garlic and elephant garlic along here, doing okay. Starting to look a little bit tatty now, if you look at these ones at the end. So I reckon they'll be coming up in the next 3 or 4 weeks. That will give us space to put some salads in. And the onions on this side, they're taking a while to sort of bulk up a bit this year, but then again I suppose it is only May. But when you think the harvest of onions we had last year was absolutely the best ever, so I think we're going to get a bit of a break from that this year. They're not going to be as prolific at all, but still good. You can look behind there, we've got our, that's where our brassicas are going to be. That is a whole layer, I'll bring you up, that is a layer of cardboard on top of the soil. You can just see the edges here, and then some of the council compost that we've got hold of. And next to them we had this black plastic covering up the ground, because that's where the parsnips were, which were taking forever to germinate. I'm just starting to see signs of them today, so hopefully covering them with something, keeping them in the dark, has helped that to happen. On the other side I've got potatoes, okay, and I've found a lesser spotted Mike with a hat on, going up there to break up the impossible to break soil. Let's go and have a little look. How's that soil today, Mike?
It's much better, Jane. I watered it last night and I've broken it up with this thing.
Oh yeah. Do we know what that's called yet?
It's a post spade.
All right, okay.
Post shovel.
And why is that any better than a normal shovel?
Because that's how hard the ground is. Look.
Yeah.
And this just helps just to break it up a little bit.
Yeah. Hard work though.
Yeah, definitely hard work. Yeah. So that does it. Just breaks it up a little bit, then water, and then it's okay to turn over then. So I'm just getting ready to plant some carrots.
Okay, I've just done a 180, and here is our pea bed, which you can see hasn't really come to a lot. However, the ones on that side have. So we are going to be putting a whole load more. In fact, it's sugar snap and mange two peas, because to be honest, they're easier to pick and easier to store, so hopefully we'll get some sort of harvest from them. But a success thing this year has been our chard. It's just absolutely beautiful, and I still love it. However we eat it, I'll eat it raw, I'll eat it steamed, I'll eat it fried. It's just so versatile. So we're going to be cutting that down and try and get a few more harvests from it. And behind them you can see our bean canes, full of promise. Look, not one bean in sight yet though. That's a job for this week. And behind them again, oh, you can see something that was on the Facebook page, but I'll come back to that in a minute. The chives that I companion planted around the base of my apple tree are filling in really nicely, and the flowers are just gorgeous, you know. If you've never tried a chive flower, they're really special. Just like a very posh spring onion. But the apple tree itself is looking really good, but I noticed yesterday that the leaves, the fresh new growth, you know what I'm going to say, don't you? We're starting to look a bit distorted, and that is usually the job of our friend the greenfly. So obviously again the tree was under some sort of stress, so it had 4 buckets of water and a liberal dousing of seaweed, and it's actually picked up just from yesterday. And when I looked a second ago, you know, I saw a couple of ladybirds. Well, they've flown away. Maybe their house is on fire. Into the Tunnel of Wonder. I've now got the some Tahitis either side of the little path. I don't like them, you know, at all, but they are very, very good companion plants. So they have gone in either side, and I think you can see really everything else is picked up and doing so well. But on a day like today, we definitely need to have both doors open so it can get a nice through breeze. And okay, this is a bit you don't normally see. Are we ready? There's the edge of the Polytunnel. Ah, bum, bum, bum. Guess where we've been sitting? Look, okay, So this is the bit that we casually call our woodland area at the moment. It is quite productive actually. We've got a whole load of autumn fruit and raspberries here. We've got rhubarb in the background. We've got a whole load of comfrey that we've just cut back. And this is the beautiful, beautiful, beautiful russet apple tree there. So yeah, it's all right, but it's when you go further in. We have a plum tree, we have a damson tree, we have another apple, we have a pear tree, but look, we've even got a buddleia, which is happily screening out some of the horrors you are yet to see. Look, this was all meant to be sorted last year, you know. Look, got an old table there, we've got several old buckets, a cold frame. Look at that, a cold frame. We could be using, mind you, to be honest, would we use it? We've got the greenhouses. We could do something with it. And then, I know I've mentioned this before, but we've got no idea what that is. It's very unpleasant, so that's got to go. Water butts, trying to get the water up here. And we've got our sheds, which are still awaiting refurbishment, and at the moment are a little bit of a dumping ground, as you can see. And we've got our compost area, which is currently full of cardboard. And then if I turn you around, oh, someone's having a party. If I turn you around, look at this mess. Look. It is a bit of a mess, isn't it? I mean, it's beautiful, and I've got to be honest, it's one of my favourite parts of the plot because look at the view. I've got to say the view's not as good as it was now. We've put a great big polytunnel in the way. But the idea is, this is where the hammock's going to go. I think we'll have the hammock there, so you can just sit here and listen to the bird song, and also some sort of picnic table. Okay, so we'll have our picnic table at the bottom end by the greenhouse, but that gets very, 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 very hot. But we're also going to have another one up here. I wonder where we could get one from. So like, I've just been wondering out loud where we could possibly get a picnic table from. Do you happen to know of any nearby?
No. Everyone's closed. Do you mean a nice free picnic table?
Yeah.
An unusual artisan picnic table?
Yeah.
Well, what we have here are some parts of an organ, a church organ, unusual parts of a church organ.
Which indeed I put on the Facebook page last week and asked people to guess what they are, and quite a lot of people got them right actually, but nobody quite knew what you were going to do with them.
And they're in a lovely fetching yellow colour, which we think will look quite good if we lay them down next to each other to form a tabletop. Yeah. And then we're going to use something else, we don't know what, for the legs, but we think it'll be a slightly wonky, interesting table. That's what we think.
So when are you going to do it, Mike?
Ooh.
Are we going to do it before or after we refurbish the sheds?
As with most things, it's going to get done any minute now.
All right, okay.
Certainly by the time you make your next video.
It's going to be rustic, isn't it?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And you'll know that you've walked past the table because you'll keep catching your legs on these handles at the bottom.
Yeah.
Which will be very handy to hang things on.
Yeah. But as ever, always a project going on at the allotment.
Unusual project this time.
Oh goodness, it's good to sit down. There we go. That was basically top to toe of our plot, or toe to top, whichever way you start. And yeah, you know, I keep thinking, you know what it's like, you look at other people's plots and you look on Instagram and people are harvesting things and all that sort of thing, and you think, oh no, I'm really behind. But what we've got to remember is it's only May. It's still only May. The fact that we're having this incredible sunshine is just right in my eyes. I need a patch just on that eye, the other eye's okay. There we go. The fact that we're having this incredible sunshine means it sort of feels like it's the height of summer, and it's not. So the fact that I haven't actually got my beans in, and I haven't planted up some of my squash yet, and various other things, I haven't got my brassicas out or my brassicas in, you know. I do just have to keep reminding myself that, yeah, there's plenty of time. Even Monty Don on Gardener's World over here in the UK, either this week or last week, said he wasn't even going to start sowing his seed for his squash and his beans until the middle of June. So thank you, Monty. That made me feel much better. But really, yeah, today is the sort of day where usually I wouldn't be up in the middle of the day at all. I'm not good in heat, and it's, you know, you just sort of start to flag, don't you? I much prefer coming up. If I say in the morning, that would be a lie, because I'm a terrible morning person, but I love coming up about 5 o'clock onwards at this time of year, and everyone else seems to go home, and just a peace comes down, and there's just a different quality of sound and of light and everything, and it's absolutely beautiful. And Mike's going to just walk right into shot, aren't you, Mike? Didn't even say hello, how rude. He's going to walk back again in a minute. This is it, because we haven't got our water supply sorted out up there yet, which is basically we are not allowed to use a hose pipe past the water butts down here at this bottom end by the greenhouses. So we can't use the hose to go all the way up to the top to fill any water butts at the top. We're having to use the water butts down here, use the watering can, and go up and basically do it a can at a time. So hopefully once we have got a couple of those tanks set up and we actually get some rain, the watering will be a lot easier. But at the moment there's a lot of up and down, but you know, it's good for you. It's all good exercise. But yeah, I feel a bit, I don't know, is it coming up behind me now? It's really quite scary. I never know quite where it's going to pop up. Oh, that tinker. He'll go past on a unicycle in a minute, juggling. No, he won't. But yeah, so I'm just flagging a bit at the moment. I don't know if I sound a bit quiet, but yeah, I feel some days you just get quiet days, and today, I don't know if it's a peaceful quiet or a bothered quiet, but yeah, I'm not myself. Not really myself, but never mind. I'm going to go home in a minute, have a cup of tea and sort this video out, and yeah, then I'll perk myself up a little bit. So I am pleased with how it's going. Earlier on, a friend popped in who hasn't seen the plot before apart from on video, and we showed him round, and he was saying, well, you'd have that much more space if you narrowed your paths a little bit between beds and that sort of thing, and we would, but really we've got plenty of space. I think we're very, very lucky. If we were growing to sustain ourselves all year round, yeah, we'd make a lot more use of the space, but we're not, you know, we're growing just enough to be comfortable with and enjoy. So yeah, we're enjoying the space as we've got it. Very pleased though to find out about the asparagus and tomatoes, because to be honest, those tomatoes were heading for the, well, they wouldn't have headed for the bin, they'd have certainly been given away, but it'll be interesting to see how they fare compared with the ones with the polytunnel. So I imagine they'll be a little bit later, but I wonder if they're going to be any healthier because they're with the asparagus. I don't know. But other than that, we've got plenty of jobs to do. I'm continuing putting little bits of things in the polytunnel, so I've planted some radish, some dill. I'm looking up there now, as if you can see, I'm looking through the tunnel. I really don't like those Tahitis, but they're there, they're doing the job, they're attracting hoverflies and other predatory insects, so they are good. But I'm going to put some little container carrots and things in there as well, some quick growing things. And yeah, that's all for the next few days. It's half term over here in the UK, so Mike's got some time off, and the weather looks good, so I imagine we've actually moved on a lot during this last week, just coming up in the evening, but I imagine by the weekend it's going to be different again, you know. So yeah, it's that mad May rush, isn't it? But yeah, I don't quite know what else to say today. I am, as I say, it's not like me. I'm a bit lost for words, just feel a bit airy fairy. I think I need to go home and put on a frock. I think a frock will solve things. Anyway, so I'm going to leave it there. I hope you enjoyed the tour. I have shown you the bits I wouldn't usually show you unless they were done nice, just at the front and that bit at the top, which is really exciting. I still find it exciting, wondering what we're going to do up there. But yeah, I hope you've enjoyed it. I've put all the posts No, I won't put posts. I told you I can't think straight today. All the links to social media below, so come along and say hello. The Facebook group, the Instagram page. What else is there? That's it. I have put a PayPal link on if anyone wants to support the allotment. Any donations will be gratefully received. I might get that drone. But yeah, it's all good and it's all there. And I'm too hot. I'm going to go home, and I will see you hopefully before the weekend and show you what we're getting up to this week. Okay, take care. Bye.